Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today we are going to do a review for Forza Horizon 5. So, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with this. So, Forza Horizon 5 is one of the most beautiful, diverse racing games I have ever seen in my life. The visual fidelity of this game is nothing short of amazing. You can see every fine detail in everything, from the world to the car to the interior of the car to the tires that actually look like rubber now. This game is freaking beautiful. There's no question about that. When you get to a point where when you are driving and you just want to stop the car and look out across the valley and the vista and you just see everything, not one time have I seen one ugly texture in this game, whether that's sitting still or flying at 200 miles an hour or turning a corner. It's freaking beautiful. Everything is beautiful. When you drive through the cities, they're highly detailed. When you stop in front of the houses or the adobes or anything in this game, they just look so detailed. It's like going to like a tropical place and just being there. Like this is beautiful. The visuals look so good on this game. There's just I don't think I've seen anything that can match this quality at this scale. The closest thing would be Far Cry 6 on Xbox Series X. That one looks pretty good, but I do believe this one here is better. So this one so there's only two other real racing games that you can really compare this to, which is The Crew 2 and Need for Speed Heat. So let's start with The Crew 2. The Crew 2 map is definitely bigger. It's got a lot more going on in it, but everything just looks the same. Like there's no real high levels of detail when it comes to The Crew 2. It looks like a cartoon. It feels like you're driving in a cartoon game, which is fine. I mean, it gets the job done when it gets to the arcade racing side of things. And I mean, that game's pretty old. That's like, what, 2016? So it doesn't even hold up that well. And then you have Forza Horizon 4, which is the one just before this one, which is very beautiful now that it's been upgraded to take advantage of Xbox Series X. They definitely stopped short on that one. That one's more of a crisp, clean look to it, where this one here looks way more realistic. It's soft where it needs to be soft, and it's sharp where it needs to be sharp, which is freaking amazing. So just that level of different textures and different detail in materials in this game is freaking phenomenal. Like I said, Crew 2 looks plastic. It looks like a cartoon compared. Need for Speed Heat, while it does have some pretty decent, I mean, like car detail, that game just looks unfinished in comparison to this or Forza Horizon 4. It looks unfinished, and it definitely shows. The world is really low quality, while the cars are pretty decent quality, but it just doesn't fit. Like everything doesn't mesh well. The only time that game really looks good is at nighttime. During the daytime, it looks really bad. Whereas Forza Horizon 5 looks good no matter when. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you could be at daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter. This game always looks good. Colors always pop. Just the inclusion of Dolby Vision. So, Need for Speed Heat does use Dolby Vision. I've played that. It is actually Dolby Vision, but that really doesn't help that game very much. And that's because of all the blurry, ugly textures that you can see in the distance, where it takes so much away from that game by not having the world up detailed enough. And I guess, I mean, it is kind of hard to compare those games, but I mean, those are our next best things when it comes to Forza Horizon. So Forza Horizon definitely shines way above those. I mean, even the fourth game shines above the other two. So basically, is what I'm saying is Forza Horizon 5 is literally the best open world, the best looking open world game I've ever seen in my life. The cars are extremely highly detailed. This world is beautiful. Everything, nothing. It like I said, there's never a moment where you're like, "Ooh, gosh, that looks ugly." I've yet to come across that, and I am now at 52 of the 56 locations discovered now. I've been driving around, doing all that, and it's just great. So, my feelings about Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 is definitely that game that you don't need to be a racing fan to enjoy this game. You don't. Just like you don't need to be a pilot to enjoy Forza or Flight Simulator, you do not need to be into racing games to enjoy Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 is at its core a really, really amazing car game, open world car game that features all kinds of different sport for racing. You've got track racing, you have off-road racing, you have track finding racing. There's even sand dunes in here, so you can go jump in the dunes. It's so freaking cool. We got sand dunes here in Utah. We go down there every once in a while. We're taking the sand rails and we're flying off these things, and the feeling that you get when you're on a sand rail and you jump off a dune is freaking amazing. And I'll tell you what, getting in these cars and jumping these dunes in this is pretty freaking fun. It's pretty fun. Like, it's if you don't have the option to go to a sand dune, this is your next best thing. I'm telling you, you get in one of the sand rails in this game or the buggies, and you get in first person or camera view and you jump off these things. It's pretty intense. It feels pretty intense. It feels pretty good. There's so many things in this world to do. Everything that they've showed you in the lead up to this game launching, they're only scratching just a small surface of what's actually in this game. The scope and the scope and the size of this map is pretty freaking big. Like there's like you can drive and it's like there's always road. You're not running out of road. You're not hitting freaking. You're not hitting turn. You're not getting stopped anymore. You're not driving for 3 minutes and seeing the same sights over and over and over again. Like you're driving for 25 minutes and you're seeing new stuff all the time. So this is good. This is great. This is exactly what I wanted in an open world racer. I wanted a big map that's beautiful, and Forza Horizon 5 has delivered that in spades and more. Like I'm more than satisfied with the map. The specs of this game. So it is rendering. There is a 4K 30 mode and a 4K 60 mode. Both of these modes are perfectly fine to drive. I prefer, if I'm going to drive the 4K 30 mode, to be in chase cam. But when I'm in the 4K 60 mode, I prefer to be in cockpit cam, either with my wheel setup or even on the controller, because controller feels great on this. Like, it really feels pretty good. Being able to control these cars with either is freaking amazing. Like, I love it so much. I love the fact that I can get in my racing seat, get in that Corvette, and drive it around and just drive it like a regular car in this beautiful place. I mean, This is exactly what I needed, exactly what I wanted. This was from the moment they announced this game, it's been my most anticipated game of the year, and Halo too. I'm pretty excited to play Halo. This game does have Dolby Vision, and Dolby Vision, when I first started playing this, Dolby Vision wasn't enacted. So I was like, oh man, I had anxiety about that. I was like, please tell me that they did not skip out on Dolby Vision on this, because right when you loaded into that game and you could see the sky, you could see the banding in the clouds in the sky, like it, and I was so disappointed that I was like, oh man, I was sitting there and I was thinking about it after playing, and I had to go to work, the next day, and then or in the morning, and then when I got home, it had already been enabled, so the Dolby Vision was there. I was so happy when that happened, because that does add a whole nother layer of granular detail to this game. Like, there's just more colors that you can see, and it pops more and it looks better. So it adds that much more clarity to the already beautiful image that that you get when you play this game. Like, I honestly, I cannot speak highly enough of Forza Horizon 5. This game, to me, was well worth the $107 that I paid for it. Like, I do not regret that price at any point. Like, I'm completely happy with that. So, I mean, let's talk about these cars for a minute, okay? Because this is something that just kind of blows my mind every time I see these things, okay? So, when you go into a race, you'll have your car on a platform, kind of just being rotated, and you're standing there, whatever. That image is so freaking clean, so good looking, so highly detailed that it just, I can't believe that's real. I can't believe that these are video game graphics. They look so good. I'm just, wow. That wows me way more than anything else I've seen this generation so far. And that's a pretty tall order because I've seen some pretty good stuff. I have a PlayStation 5 and I have the Xbox Series X. So I have seen every game, every AAA game, every hard-hitting game that's come out. I've bought every single one of them and I've seen all of them. And that wows me more than any of those. So so the detail is super high. Like, you could see the paint flakes in the paint. You could see, I mean, the rims, the rotors, the brake rotors look, these are the best brake rotors I've ever seen on any car game. This looks phenomenal. Handling in these cars. So this is kind of a tricky one. Like, these cars handle a lot better. They feel a lot better than they did in 4, to an extent. It just depends on the kind of car you're driving and the surface that you're driving on. If you're on the dirt, you're going to lose traction really quick, which is realistic. But in the short term of things, it could kind of hurt, you know. Like, you're gonna, like, the handling feels good. In my opinion, the handling feels pretty good on dirt. Feels really good on tarmac. When you're bouncing and flying through, you know, water and stuff like that, like hydroplaning, like, all of that does feel good. Like, this feels good. It's definitely a competent racer. I might have been a little too overzealous when I was saying, oh yeah, this is more you can dial this game in to be really, really user friendly, or you can put it, you know, kind of make it extreme, you know, more realistic. And I like that. It definitely feels like it's definitely moved ahead from Forza Horizon 4 in a lot of meaningful ways when it comes to that. There are still some things that I wish, you know, like the car bodies would kind of roll a little bit more. I wish they would kind of, you know, bounce realistically, like when you do a shock, especially like older cars. I wish that we could see that bounce, because these guys nail the all-wheel drive. You know, when you're sitting on the dirt and you got the camera turned and you hit the gas, you see all 4 tires spin and shake and bounce, and it's pretty cool. Like, I love the fine detail that they put into this, but I wish that the body roll looked a little better of the car, you know, like on the shocks. I wish it looked a little better when you were hitting bumps and stuff. I think I mean, everything just seems really stiff, and I wish it didn't. I wish it could feel a little less stiff and look a little more realistic. That'd be really cool. I think there's 500 cars right now. I haven't actually counted them, but I think I've seen something say there was 500. This game feels good on a controller. This game feels good on a wheel. On the wheel, I'm having a blast with this game. Some cars better than others. It just depends. I like to get into these games and stick to a few different cars, like a few favorite cars, and really learn those cars, because it just kind of helps overall in the scheme of things, especially when you're racing at higher difficulty levels. If you put this on easy, you can drive whatever the heck you want. Doesn't even matter. You don't need to really tune anything, or, like, I mean, yeah, you probably tune things, but you don't really need to put that much attention into exactly how the cars move, because in easy mode, it doesn't matter. You can mess up a lot and still win. In the highly skilled is usually, like, I'm usually pretty good. I can usually get past those guys in like the first try, no problem, on Forza Horizon 4. I'm struggling on this game. I'm struggling a little bit, man. These guys are pretty good and that's on highly skilled. So that definitely lets you know that they've definitely made these drivatars a little bit better than I think they've ever been in any of these games. Highly skilled is usually what I keep it at on this, because I mean there's a fine line. I want to enjoy the game, but at the same time, with as much with the amount of time that I really get to play games, I only have a certain amount of time, so I really like to just enjoy them. So highly skilled is more than enough for me. But I feel like that might be too much for people that aren't really into racing games. So I would definitely stick to some of the easier levels if you're not really into racing. But it is fully customizable from lower difficulty all the way up to a pretty extreme pro or something, I believe it is. So there's plenty of challenge in this game, and there's plenty of tuning. You can tune these cars. You could put some of them have body kits. There's a lot more customization in these cars than I believe there was in Forza Horizon 4. Well, I mean most of the settings and everything are basically the same. But you know, there's still a fair amount of customization especially when it comes to the livery editor and paint, all of that stuff. That's all here, and it all freaking functions really good. I haven't ran into any bugs yet, except for like the online bug. It keeps like kind of booting me out of the game or whatever. But I haven't really been trying to do a lot of multiplayer. I've just been trying to do my own thing and enjoy the game. So all of the modes come back, racing, drift trials, speed traps. You got the big giant monsters like the Goliaths and stuff. You've got rally racing. You've got gosh dang it, what was that one they brought to the game? That trail finder one. That one's pretty cool. I love those ones. I love those kind of races. You've got a race creator in here. You can design your own races. You can make what you want. Other people can do those, and that added a lot of longevity to Forza Horizon 4, because you could do that on there too. You could get in a car and do like a race or whatever, and then you could set that up as a race for somebody to go and do, and that was pretty cool. I love that kind of stuff is here. There's a bunch of showcase events that they've brought to this game as well. Like Forza Horizon is probably the funnest arcade racer that I've ever played in my life. It keeps my attention longer. I love playing it more. And yeah, it's just fun. Like I can get on these games and play them for hours straight, which is a rarity. Honestly, it's kind of a rarity. I mean, like a game has to be really, really good for it to keep my attention for a long time. Sometimes I'm playing through games and I'm kind of irritated that I'm still playing them sometimes. And this is one of those games I've never felt like that with. And there's times when I just get out there and I just drive around. I don't even do events or anything like that. I just drive around. Like the ability to really enjoy this type of a game is gotten better with each and every release. I've played since Forza Horizon 2. Forza Horizon 2 was probably the one I played the least. Forza Horizon 3, I love that game. I freaking love that one. I bought that one because of Blizzard Mountain. That was the whole reason I bought an Xbox, and then actually bought the second game after I'd already been playing 3. 4 was phenomenal. I love that game. Everything about that one was pretty good. I just wish the maps were bigger, and now we finally have that. We finally have a really big map that not only looks good on base last-gen consoles, but all the way up to next-gen consoles. And I'll tell you what, here shortly we're going to be having we're going to be having access to cloud gaming right here from our consoles. And the fact that if you're on a base Xbox right now and you're playing this game at 1080p at 30 frames a second, as soon as that cloud kicks on, dude, you'll be able to play this game at 1080p 60 frames a second with the Xbox Series S version visuals. So not only are you going to get a better visual package, you're going to get 60 frames a second at 1080p. That's going to be pretty freaking phenomenal. To be able to play the next gen version on your base console from last gen just through your Game Pass subscription is going to be phenomenal. I recommend, getting some pretty decent internet so that you can take advantage of that. I do have access to that now on my PC. It's freaking pretty cool, man. I was playing that last night. I pulled out the good old controller and I hooked it up, and I'm just playing, games, streaming them, and I'm getting really good results. The only one I've had any problem with was Battlefield 5. I was getting a little bit like you'd see like the whole thing just like a screen tear that starts at the top and goes all the way down and reloads the whole image again. That was kind of interesting. So Hopefully it's not like that with Forza Horizon 5, because just the fact that you'll be able to play this at 1080p 60 frames a second on your base console with just by streaming it and getting the next gen visual package, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Okay, so let me see. So now that we're getting into the map, let's talk a little bit more about the map. Okay, I got some notes kind of scribbled here, and I'm kind of reading back and forth to try to give you guys the best impression, the best feeling that I can, and then I'm gonna really dial down on the bring it home, sell it to you package here shortly. Okay, so map size is freaking big. I believe they said it was 1.15 times bigger than the last map, which you can tell this thing's pretty huge. There's lots of room, there's lots of places to go, lots of diversity, lots of things to see. Highly detailed environment. You get some beautiful rock faces. You're getting beautiful ground dirt textures. Dirt textures are important to me. I love I don't know why, but I love when I'm driving over dirt and it looks good. And there's tessellation and there's lots of rocks in it, and it just looks gritty. I love that fact. No blur. No freaking blur on the road. No blur. Like it like when you're driving, you can see everything. Oh gosh, it looks so good, man. It looks good. So like I said, beauty and detail is freaking amazing. Scope and scale is phenomenal on this game. While not quite as big as the Crew 2, I would much rather have this map highly detailed than a map the size of the Crew that just looks like a cartoon. Like I love this more. This looks better. The sand dunes, what I was talking about earlier, are freaking beautiful. You can see individual grains of sand. It's so highly detailed. The mesh that they have for that sand looks phenomenal. When you're flying over it, okay, so this is the thing that really got me. When you're driving through the sand, you can see it like shooting up. Like just, oh gosh, and it looks so good. And leaving like a dust trail behind you, it looks phenomenal. This is so beautiful. It like I said, it gives you that sense of feeling like, whoa, man, I'm really driving through sand. It parts, it falls down, it looks great. It's truly like beautiful. I wish I could get out there with a snowboard and just kind of slide down it. It'd be fun. And jumping those sand dunes is so cool. Oh gosh, it's just fun, man. The towns and cities are immaculately detailed, from the bricks to the grounds to the sidewalk to the colors of the paint to the terracotta freaking tile on the top of the roofs. Everything in this game is just highly detailed. It looks really good. The wood framing on stuff looks good. Whew, man, it's a dream. Like you could literally just drive through the cities at like 10 miles an hour and just look at things, and it's so highly detailed, and it looks like it's just so full of pixels. It's not even funny. It looks great. Like I was saying, there's long roads, plenty of roads to just drive through and explore. You've got from coast to coast. It's really long. Yeah, dude, it's just great. Like my first big drive around the whole freaking thing took me like 25 minutes in that Corvette. It was so nice. I love that. It couldn't take me that long to do that in Forza Horizon 4. Like it was just, oh boy. So in conclusion, Forza Horizon 5 is freaking phenomenal. This is the biggest map they've ever built. This has got plenty of cars. You're definitely going to find the car you want to drive. Every single one of these cars that I've looked at looks freaking beautiful. You can get into Forza Vista that has ray tracing. You can see more fine detail in there. It looks great. It looks phenomenal. That same high level of quality visual detail is when you start a race too, or when you're lining up. It just looks good. The atmosphere in this game looks great. The cars look good. The characters, the actual avatars, they look pretty decent too. Like they're a lot more detailed than they were in the last game. Big thing, tires. Tires actually look like rubber tires now. It looks freaking good. That's just how much they paid attention to this, and the quality of assets that they use in this game is freaking phenomenal. I definitely, it's going to be pretty hard for something else to beat me for Game of the Year. Like this is all I'm thinking about right now is Forza Horizon 5. My other most anticipated game was Riders Republic, and like I just, yeah, I mean, after playing this, like this is the only game I want to play right now. I tried to turn on Call of Duty so that I could get my my thing with that. I played that for a few hours this morning. I played that. So I'll be doing something about that here pretty soon. But yeah, Forza Horizon 5 is freaking it for me. Like, this game is so good. The next best thing is probably going to be Halo at the end of the year, but I never was a Halo fan. I never really was a big Halo fan, so this is going to be like my first real, like, oh man, this is like, I'm hyped for this game, this Halo, and I want to play it. But as it sits right now, yeah, I definitely think that Forza Horizon is my game of the year. I mean, and this isn't just on visual. This has a lot to do with just how long I'm going to play this game, the hours that I'm going to put into this, the beauty that's in here, the amount of content, that will be coming to the game post launch with the premium pack. This is phenomenal. This is amazing. This is exactly what I wanted. I played Forza Horizon 4 for like 3 months straight when that one came out. That was an amazing game. Me and my friends are going to be playing this one. Yeah, like right now, honestly, and I mean, there's some other good games that came out this year too. Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village was a great game. Definitely my favorite Resident Evil game. We had Tales of Arise. I really loved that game. I really appreciated that. And when I played that, I was like, oh man, this is probably my game of the year, because that one was pretty good. Scarlet Nexus, I like that one too, but not as much. There's so many games that have come out, and I've played so many of these games. And, you know, like Psychonauts 2 was a great game. I'm not, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but when it comes to me, racing is very important to me. Like, I'm a big racing fan. I love racing games. I've always loved racing games. And when it comes down to it, racing games will always be my go-to game. So for this to win my game of the year over everything else that's come out this year, that's not, I mean, it's not really that hard for it to do because it is a racing game, but we've had other racing games this year too. WRC 10, Rims Racing. Yeah, this is definitely better than both of those too. And I'm pretty sure there was something else that came out racing wise, but obviously it wasn't that important to remember. Oh, F1 2021. That one's a pretty dang good game too. Yeah, but this game is going to get a lot of play out of me. This game is going to get a lot of play. I'm freaking happy. I'm grateful that I get to play this early and I get to do this review. So yeah, now that this review is going up, I'm going to start streaming gameplay. You're going to be seeing some gameplay of this game coming from me. So yes, it's finally here. It's finally ours. It's finally out. If you haven't picked up the freaking premium pack with the Game Pass for $45 or whatever, so you could start playing this right now, what are you waiting for? Let's get in this. All of that stuff that's coming, these guys usually packed in like Fortune Island on the last game and the Lego thing, two more big maps. They were pretty freaking great, and all of those combined were like 40 roads less than what's in this main game right now. So get on it, get that picked up, get that downloaded. You know, I'll see you in Mexico. This game's great, man. Have fun, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, if you like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.